Hi, welcome back. We're reading through the Bible and we are in the book of Proverbs. And today we're in Proverbs chapter 12. And I'm going to read from this John MacArthur study Bible. This is a New King James translation. Drop a comment below and let me know which translation did you land on, and you can let me know why did you choose it. I'd be super curious. Okay, I'm reading from this one today rather than my large print Bible, just because John MacArthur has some really interesting notes that I wanted to pause and share with you from the study Bible. And chapter 12 is a little bit shorter, so I think we have time to do it. Okay, Proverbs 12, chapter 1. Whoever loves instruction loves knowledge, but he who hates correction is stupid. Right out of the gate, raise your hand if you thought the Bible talks about being stupid. It's kind of funny, right? Little kids, that's a bad word. We don't use that word, right? But it says stupid from the Hebrew word to graze. He is as stupid as the brute cattle. Pretty interesting in the original Hebrew. It's even more of an insult. So again, whoever loves instruction loves knowledge, but he who hates corruption is stupid as the brute cattle. Okay, verse 2. A good man obtains favor from the Lord, but a man of wicked intentions he will condemn. A man is not established by wickedness, but the root of righteous cannot be moved. And root, in John MacArthur's notes here, it says the familiar image is of the righteous being firm like a flourishing tree. Okay. Verse 4. An excellent wife is the crown of her husband, but she who causes shame is like rottenness in his bones. That's pretty graphic. Okay, so in the notes here, and there are other study Bibles. I want you to know that John MacArthur is not the only one who's done this, but he's done a lot of research. And so, excellent wife, she notes on 31:10 and Ruth 3:11 for the opposite C, chapter 19, verse 13, chapter 21, verse 9. It lists these verses. So see notes on 31:10. So I'm going to the notes on 31:10. And Proverbs 31 is one of my very favorites. We'll get to it. 31:10. Who can find? She does exist, but is very hard to find a virtuous woman. And that is, who can find a virtuous woman? Her worth is far above rubies. So that's the note on an excellent wife. But then it also says in the notes on chapter 12, verse 4, rottenness in his bones. This speaks of suffering that is like a painful and incurable condition. So let me read that again. An excellent wife is the crown of her husband. And then think of opposite. But she who causes shame is like the rottenness in his bones. That's a painful and incurable condition. This digs a little deeper, right? Okay, verse 5. The thoughts of the righteous are right, but the counsels of the wicked are deceitful. The words of the wicked lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright will deliver them. And I'm going to skip the note on that one. Not because it's not interesting, but you get the idea. Verse 7, the wicked are overthrown and are no more, but the house of the righteous will stand. House meaning the rewards of wise living are not only to individuals, but extend to one's household or family. Verse 8, a man will be commended according to his wisdom, but he who is of a perverse heart will be despised. And verse 9, better is the one who is slighted but has a servant than he who honors himself but lacks bread. And there is a note on this, better than. This is one of the several proverbs which makes a distinct comparison using better than. And then it lists a whole bunch of verses. And then slighted and honors himself, the obscure one of lowly rank, who can at least afford to hire a servant because of his honest gain, is better than one who falsely boasts about his prominence, but is really poor. So these are interesting notes. Let's go on to verse 10. A righteous man regards the life of his animal, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. And then the notes say regards them as cruel. He has concern for the condition of his beast, while the wicked has no concern for people. So people are designed in God's image. Animals are not, but they are part of God's creation. Priorities. Okay, verse 11. He who tills his land will be satisfied with bread, but he who follows frivolity is devoid of understanding. Frivolity, frivolous, energy expended in worthless pursuits and fantasies is as useless as outright laziness, just to be clear. Okay, verse 12. The wicked covet the catch of evil men, but the root of the righteous yields fruit. And then covet the catch, it says this refers to the desire for booty gained by the schemes of the wicked, contrasted with a simple life of obedience that produces blessing. Are you going to get one of these study Bibles yet? It's super interesting to dig into it a little bit. Okay, so that was verse 12. Now verse 13, the wicked is ensnared by the transgression of his lips, but the righteous will come through trouble. And not every verse has notes on it, but sometimes some chapters will have more notes. Verse 14, a man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth, and the recompense of a man's hands will be rendered to him. Fruit of his mouth, this deals with the power of words. Words are very powerful. The reward of wise words is like the reward for physical labor. Verse 15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he who heeds counsel is wise. There are other places in the Bible where the Lord talks about people doing right in their own eyes rather than according to the Lord's standards. So I would encourage you to highlight that kind of verse when you see it. The way of the fool is right in his own eyes. He's just doing what he thinks is right for him. And he who heeds counsel is wise. Again, that's like we were saying the other day. Was it yesterday? It's been a long day. Wise counsel is in Numbers, asking people, a variety of people who care for you enough to tell you what you don't want to hear. That's wise counsel. So he who heeds counsel is wise. Verse 16, a fool's wrath is known at once, but a prudent man covers shame. Covers shame, the note says, a model of self-control. The prudent man ignores an insult. All right, verse 17. He who speaks truth declares righteousness, but a false witness deceit. There is one who speaks like the piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise promotes health. Okay, again, here's some notes on verse 18. The contrast here is between cutting words that are blurted out and thoughtful words that bring health. Okay. Verse 19, the truthful lip shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Interesting to think about. Okay. Verse 20, deceit is in the heart of those who devise evil, but counselors of peace have joy. The note on deceit, it says, those who plan evil by deceit have no joy because of the risks and the dangers in their plan. But the righteous who lead by peace fear nothing and thus have joy. Verse 21, no grave trouble will overtake the righteous, but the wicked shall be filled with evil. Verse 22, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who deal truthfully are his delight. I think that's a verse to highlight, not just for teaching your kids, but as a reminder to yourself. A lie is a lie, big or small. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who deal truthfully are his delight. Verse 23. A prudent man conceals knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaims foolishness. Is there notes on that? Conceals. Yes. Unlike the fool who makes all hear his folly, the wise person is a model of restraint and humility, speaking what he knows at an appropriate time. Verse 24, the hand of the diligent will rule, but the lazy man will be put to forced labor. Forced labor, in the notes, it says, unlike the hardworking people who have charge over their work, the lazy are eventually forced to go to work for the diligent to survive. Let's see, verse 25. Anxiety in the heart of man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad. That's an interesting one. We can't get into that today, but that is a study in and of itself. Verse 26, the righteous should choose his friends carefully. Yes. For the way of the wicked leads them astray. And in the notes, it says this verse could be understood as saying that the righteous guides his friends carefully, unlike the wicked who leads his companions astray. Okay, we're almost there. Verse 27, the lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is man's precious possession. Does not roast. What does that mean? The sluggard lacks commitment to make something of his opportunities. It's true. The parallels here are implied. A man of good words prospers, but a man of evil words, thus unfruitful to God, provokes violence against himself. And are there more notes on that? Nope. Okay, last verse, guys, verse 28. In the way of righteousness is life, and in its pathways there is no death. And that is Proverbs chapter 12. How did you guys do? Did you make it through? Jumping around to the notes, it does add time, and you need to have that bandwidth mentally for the day, but it's fun to do it every now and then, especially when they start right out of the gate by saying, he who hates correction is stupid. So drop a comment below. Let me know which verses did you highlight? How did you do? Did you read it out loud? And how long did it take you? I will see you tomorrow for Proverbs chapter 13.